So, what was your mother's boyfriend's reaction when he saw it?
His reaction was quite different. And I mean, I don't like speaking on other people's stories, but for the sake of the story, for information, for people to understand, he heard something different, and what he heard was a more mature voice of his younger brother that went missing when he was 12. And the backstory on that is he was in Puerto Rico in the mountains with his brother, his older brother at the time. And he came back home, dreadful, tears, crying, saying that a green light from the sky took his little brother or his big brother. The parents, everyone's kind of skeptical, like, what the fuck, they don't believe it. And the rumors started, gathering around because they couldn't find the boy, his body, anything. They were like, we think you pushed your brother off the cliff into the ocean out of jealousy. One grandparent said that, and the family kind of just stuck with it and tormented this poor man his entire life. Imagine really being a child and seeing something like that, a light, and just taking your brother. You never see him again. And then you go to run for adults for help, and rather than trying to help or make sense of it, they accuse you of doing something so horrible as killing your brother out of jealousy. And he went through this his whole life.
Wow.
He went through this his whole life. And what he told me he heard sounded like his brother, just slightly older, and he was letting him know that where he's at, he's okay, and that he's waiting for him, and that the place he's at is a heaven, or like a heaven.
Right.
And Robert was just in tears. He was in tears because he felt like he knew the truth finally. He said, "Eso fue algo de otro mundo," which in English translates, "That was something from another world." And yeah, he really strongly now believes and has closure that whatever green light took his brother didn't take it for any type of experimental or to dissect and kill and and study his brother, but took him somewhere better for whatever reason is that they did. But he believes that they took him there for good reason. I mean, if he's able to speak to his brother telepathically and be alive and well, I feel like that's a good thing. I definitely strongly believe that there is something beyond another dimension or another planet, probably within this dimension, that the Bible describes where our quote unquote gods or these prophets come from. I believe they're real humans, just like us, living, breathing human beings that exist in this universe. They just have more scientific advancement than we do to make them seem godlike.
So, where did you meet the man that said that he was an atheist, he didn't believe in God, and he had the book?
I met him at a baby shower. A friend of mine was having a baby with another friend of mine. So I showed up to show support to both of them, and the father was in the back editing footage on his laptop at the time.
Oh, wow. And have you maintained a relationship with this man like over the years or like from that day on?
No, no, his purpose was just to introduce the message to me at that time. The reason why I said I hate the word coincidental is because after joining the Raëlian movement, I learned from Rael that a coincidence or someone who believes in coincidences is a naive person, a fool, someone that is easily to be fooled by this cloak that they've placed over our eyes, the veil that is over our eyes. And now is the time where we're more intelligent enough to understand the truth. We can understand science, to where now we don't have to hear these biblical fairy tale stories that our ancestors had for them. And the reason why they had it is because they were primitive, respectfully, compared to us. They didn't understand scientific knowledge. If you and I were to, for example, visit a planet that is much primitive than we are, and we were to land there on one of Elon's ships from SpaceX, right? We would be considered gods to them. We came from the sky. We are what the Amplified Bible says, Elohim. Elohim is what they used in the Bibles describing God. It is a mistranslation because God is a singular word. Elohim is a plural, meaning many, those who come from the sky. This is why technically Raelians are atheists. We don't believe in a singular being that is taking credit for everything, a godlike being. We believe in many, many humans that using science had created life here. So that way we can continue to live on and not become extinct, but continue to expand throughout the universe and reproduce.
Would you consider the Raelian movement as a cult?
No, I believe that the same way people like, let's say, this YSL, for example, where they say, oh, it's not a gang, it's a label and stuff like that. I believe people from the outside of an organized group of any individuals could throw any word at it to make it negative. For example, law enforcement would say gang or mafia to individuals that they are opposing. I believe also as well that the government and people who would like to keep us as sheep would make up words like cult to kind of veer people away from something that could wake them up from the truth and have them stand up and become a rebel against the common society. And for that reason, I believe words like that exist, like cult and whatnot. It's kind of like throwing the hard ER around. Honestly, it's just as offensive. Not every black person you meet is an uneducated, ignorant criminal. And for that, coming from Florida, they use that hard ER even towards white folks because it's not a thing of color, it's a thing of nature. You know, someone who is ignorant and is willing to cut throat and just do anything by any means to double cross someone. And with that being said, I know some people who are hard on the ER that are Jewish, that are white, that are Asian. You know, I know more hard ERs that do stuff like that, you know, double crossing an individual. So to me, it doesn't resonate with color. The same way I was going to say the same way cult doesn't resonate to me with just a group of individuals who are trying to do something.